All right, good morning. It's Tuesday, April 28th. It's your first week of getting everything kind of all as a batch together. Tuesday's assignment, and you can complete these kind of all at once or wherever they fit into your week, that they're just due the following Monday at midnight. So you have a little checklist of things to do. First, open the link to the simulation. So today is a simulation with some questions. So the questions are down here in the form. We'll come back to that in a few minutes. I already have the simulation open, so I'm going to just click on it. So I have reactants to the left of the arrow and products go on the right of the arrow. And what they want you to do is really just move the reactants over to where they go on the products. And this is really intended just to help you visualize that we're not gaining or losing anything from the reactants to the products. We're just rearranging them. So once you get done with that, you'll click challenge me and it'll ask you some questions. Go ahead and answer those as best as you can. And then when you come back to your notebook, you can answer the questions in the form. So you have seen them on the simulation, and now you should just be able to click the appropriate answers in forms, except for the bottom one you got to type in there. Okay, so then we can be on to Wednesday, April 29th. So again, a little check boxes for what needs to get done. First, you're going to click the link and read an article. This guy right here. So this article is Real World Chemistry. It's about the chemistry of crash test dummies. And it's going to tie into chemical reactions, conservation of mass. And if you look at the end of the article, there's some videos. You are going to need to watch those in order to answer the questions. So then you'll come back to your class notebook, and here are the questions. You'll just type in your answers. It'll come straight to myself or Mr. Musso when you click submit at the bottom. And then we can be on to Thursday. Oh, there it is. Okay. On Thursday, you have a little video to watch. It's a Tyler DeWitt. He does a really good job of giving an introduction to how to balance a chemical reaction. When we're balancing a chemical reaction, we just want to make sure we have the same amount of stuff to the left of the arrow as we have to the right of the arrow. So you can kind of see right here in this thumbnail that there's 6 hydrogens on the left. We also are going to need to figure out a way to have 6 of them on the right. So that's what he's going to show you. And then you have a little worksheet down here where you're actually going to be balancing. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do that. So what I like to do, and I'll make a separate video for this that just shows how I would balance on paper, but noticing right away that there's 1 iodine on the left with that sodium, and on the right I have 2 iodines. It's a diatomic molecule. So probably the easiest way to do this is to make a text box, put in the number that you think ought to go there, and just drag it over to where it would go. Okay, and then when I click out of it, it's right there. And if you need to change the number, then it's really easy to go back in and do it that way. Your other option is to use the draw tool, and you can it works best if you have a stylus. See, like I'm using a mouse and it doesn't work that great. But whenever you're done with that, we'll come check it and give you stickers. Okay, so Friday, May 1st, always makes me think about In Sync. I'm really sad I can't play that in class this year. So Friday's another simulation, and you click on the link and it will take you to a screen that looks like this. You'll push the play button and it'll go through kind of a real time what would happen if we were to do this reaction. And when it's over, then you'll get to this screen. So this is important because these are the same questions that are in the form on your notebook that you need to fill in. So as you kind of, at the bottom is where you would manipulate the coefficients. and then it's going to show you up here what the amounts are on either side. So obviously I need to add some products. Okay, so I know that I'm good when the numbers match, right? 1 and 1. Let's see, it looks like I need at least 2 fluorines, so I'm going to put those in there. Okay, so that changed the fluorine. It also changed the lithium. So I can manipulate those numbers in a way that's going to make them all match up. And when it's matched up, it shows me that it's balanced. And if I were you, I would write down those numbers, or I would write down the formula on the bottom so that when I go back to my notebook and I go to my form, that I can just type it right in there. Right, one more day to go over. Okay, here we are on Monday, May 4th. It's a PhET simulation. And like usual, we have the instructions on the right side. The first instruction is just to open the simulation. And our screen matches that one, so that's good. Then it says to pick a tool from the drop-down menu. There's 2 options. You can use the balances, or you could use a bar graph. I prefer the balances, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay. And then the instructions will go on to tell us that we want to balance this equation. So I'll start by adding some nitrogen. And the left side of the balance is showing us the left side of the equation, where the right side of the balance is showing us the right side of the equation, or the product side. So I'm going to go ahead and add to the product side, see if I can get it to sort of balance out a little bit. So I have 2 on the left and 1 on the right now for nitrogen. So I'm halfway there to being balanced, but you should also notice that it's added hydrogen. So the 3 hydrogens that I added with the NH3, those are now showing up here. And so hydrogen is unbalanced. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and try to even out the nitrogens first. So now my balance is level. I have 2 on each side, and that is balanced. That's good. But I have 6 hydrogens on the right. So I'm gonna come back to the left and see, I've added 2 hydrogens, not balanced yet. And remember, when they're diatomic molecules, they're adding them 2 at a time. So you're really counting by 2s. So if I have 4 on the left and 6 on the right, I should be good if I add 1 more H2 molecule. And I have smiley faces. Good to go. So then I'll come down here. And after I've done that, they want me to move on to separate water. Come back to the top of this guy right here. So you'll have separate water to do and combust methane to do. And then when you're all the way finished, there's questions on the form, and make sure again that you're clicking submit at the bottom.